Fantasy Football with Mclovin and the Big Ticket has been brought to you by old-timey school ballads featuring such hits as My Baby Drives the Warwick School Bus. All right, guys, welcome back. It is Fantasy Football with Mclovin and the Big Ticket. Let's see what we got going on here. I'm going to get right to the news and notes. Crazy week in football. Yeah. Stuff that you didn't think you'd see. But you never know. You never know in the NFL.
Sure.
You never know.
Sure.
And for those people who are good at picking not only the spread like you are, or
11-4 last week, Andy.
Yeah.
In the Big Ticket, which moves me.
Well, we're not going to go into that yet. We're not going to go into that yet.
Sure.
So we're out of order now. Okay, but we'll definitely talk about all that stuff.
Cliffhanger.
News. All right, so let's go right into what the hell we're doing. Busy week in football. And let's go right on into this. So, Ryan boasts that Bills, quote, expected win with Brady out. Rex Ryan said the Bills' 16-0 victory over the Patriots on Sunday was, quote, satisfying, but, quote, expected since Tom Brady was serving the last game of his suspension.
He's full of shit again. He didn't expect to win that game. This is Rex Ryan. Pretty much that was his Super Bowl. He went into Gillette Stadium and beat a third-string quarterback. He beat, Belichick. This is the same guy who says, yeah, we should have won that game anyway because they had their third stringer, and we acknowledge that Brady and Gronk really didn't play. Even though Gronk played, but he was useless. And then it's the same guy that says, now, we expected to win, and we have a rat inside the... he's just he just has diarrhea of the mouth. He doesn't stop talking. He never stops talking, and everyone has stopped listening to him. I know for sure I have. All the garbage that he says. It's getting old now. People are sick of hearing him. The last two wins have really solidified saving his job for at least the end of the year. They're 2-2 now. They have a good big game coming against St. Louis, who's 3-1. LA. I still call him St. Louis, who's 3-1 now. But he needs to save all. And it's almost at the point where he's never going to stop. And we just have to go along with it. I think we should make a pact here on the show that any Rex Ryan article is just going to be skipped, so we don't ever have to talk about Rex Ryan again.
Golden Tate seemingly benched and lost to the Bears. Golden Tate has been on the field for 86.8% of the Lions' offensive snaps this season, but he was barely on the field during the second half on Sunday.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Golden Tate, but he's definitely taken a step back. He hasn't been the guy that they thought would step up, be the number one receiver in Detroit. The kid that they brought in from Cincinnati, he's been a much bigger threat. So I don't know if it's health. I don't know if it's just poor performance, but his usage is definitely taking a step back, and I'm not terribly surprised just based on how the year has gone for him up until this point.
Yeah, Marvin Jones and Anquan Bolden, and then Theo Riddick coming out of the backfield catches a lot of balls as well. I have Golden Tate on two of my fantasy teams. I just recently dropped him to waivers. He's been on the field a lot. He's gotten a decent amount of targets. He just has no catches. And, going into the season, he was going to be, the guy or the second, and he really hasn't done much. And, Stafford is not throwing the ball to him intentionally. It just hasn't worked out so far. All he needs is just a big game, 10 catches, 125 yards, and a touchdown, and he'll be back in the offense.
Jets back Fitzpatrick after 9 interceptions past 2 games. Jets coach Todd Bowles and wide receiver Brandon Marshall remain confident in quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick despite his 9 interceptions in the past 2 games.
Well, you got to consider the alternative in Geno Smith. I think Fitzpatrick, the 6 interception game, he could have thrown 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8. It's just one game. You can look past that game. That's not like, he's consistently doing it. Obviously, he came back and threw, 3?
3, yeah.
I think Fitzpatrick is, even him now is still a better option than Geno Smith. I really do continue to like Fitzpatrick. A lot of the last 2 games now, what has happened is they've gotten down early. If their defense has dug them a hole, 10, 20-point hole where they're coming out and they're passing more often, which limits Forte's touches. Forte can't really, get settled in, and, he's not really acquainted with the offense, getting not comfortable with the offense. So they're throwing the ball three times, and they have the ball on offense, and he's got one. You got him and Decker and Marshall, and then the third guy there. But what's his name? Sanua or something like that. But
Quincy, I believe is right.
Yeah, I think if the Jets can play balanced, meaning that their offense can control the ball and get some points, even if it's a field goal here and there, and their defense can stop the other team, I think then they're more of a balanced offense, starting with Forte. As you've seen the last 2 games that they've lost, they haven't got Forte into a rhythm yet. So
they ended up being down early, and anytime you end up down,
that's what I'm saying. So
you're not going to be able to run the ball. So and they've got injury issues, but overall, I just don't think Fitzpatrick he's not an elite level guy. He's never been an elite level guy. He had a really good year last year, but it's the same thing I said about Josh McCown. These guys, they come out, they have half a good season after having 6, 7, 8 years in the league where they didn't really do much. It's because that's who they are. But they've got injury issues. The Jets are going to have to play really good defense because, like Pat said, there is no alternative at quarterback. So you're going with Fitzpatrick either way.
At 3-1, after win over Cardinals, Rams must be taken seriously. Thanks to a defense that forced 5 turnovers, the Rams beat a Cardinals team that had won 4 of the previous 5 matchups.
They are the real deal now. Me and the Big Ticket were just chuckling the other day about it. They got their asses handed to them by San Francisco, who is not a very good football team, and then to beat Seattle, then to beat Tampa Bay, and then to beat Arizona is a job well done. And I'm the first guy to criticize Jeff Fischer. I think he's a terrible coach. I think we went over the fact that out of 21 years, he's missed the playoffs for 16 or 17 times. LA just re-upped him and gave him a lot of money, and then they came out and shit the bed the first game. But you got to give him credit. Case Keenum has really played well. I think he's not a big guy, but he can get out of the pocket and make some plays. I think Tavon Austin and Kenny Stills have played extremely well. Gurley really hasn't come out of it, hasn't really been shot out of a cannon yet. But with that defense, I think they have the best defensive player in the NFL right now in Aaron Donald, their defensive lineman. And I think as long as they can stay what they're doing, I didn't think they were going to win 3 games the entire year. Now they're 3-1. They're atop that division, and technically they're in first place because they have the tiebreaker over Seattle. So not only have they won, the games that they should win, but they're also doing well in Division 2. So if it ever comes down to the standpoint where, for tiebreakers, they're going to have the one up on Arizona and the one up on Seattle. I don't think they're ever going to be tied with San Francisco, so that loss to them is not going to hurt as much. But I think you got to give them a lot of respect. And like I said, I think they're going to go 4-1. They had a game at Buffalo, but I think they're going to win that game as well. So watch out for the LA Rams.
So late fumbles pushed Chargers coach Mike McCoy onto hot seat. The Chargers managed to squander another game they had tucked away, putting head coach Mike McCoy squarely on the hot seat.
Yeah, I don't know how substantial that really is that he's on the hot seat, but
absolutely yes.
He it doesn't really seem to matter who the Chargers coach is. This is what the Chargers do year after year after year. When it was Schottenheimer, when it was Norv Turner, when it was every other guy who's taken that job, it doesn't seem like they can't keep a coach there. And I think it's more I think it's an organizational issue. I think it really starts from the top down, even before you even get to the head coach. They're just not an organization of winners, and they have had some talented rosters that they've put out there over the years. I know they're having some real struggles this year as far as, they've got health issues, and they've got, Phillip Rivers doesn't really have much around him anymore. They've never been a team that's been able to go out there and do it. I don't know how I feel about, Mike McCoy. If he's on the hot seat, maybe he is. Maybe if you can't win, eventually you're going to be on the hot seat regardless. So, but I think they've got a lot of issues outside the head coach.
I watched into this game, and I had Rivers on my fantasy team, and I saw that they're up 15 or 14 or 13. Sorry, and this game was all but over, and they turned the ball over, and then anytime you give Drew Brees and Brandon Cooks and these guys a shot to have win the game at the end, they're going to take advantage of it. Anytime you give Drew Brees 2 extra possessions to let him win the game, he's going to win the game. San Diego is in a sorry state of affairs. I think 2 or 3 weeks ago that they were done. They are done. They have no fan base. No one really cares about San Diego. No one wants San Diego. LA's like, no, we don't want any part of them. And Oakland's like, no, we don't want any part of them either. And they're just they're a lame duck right now. It's going to be difficult then for them to even have the taxpayers come up with the money to pay for a new stadium down in San Diego, which is going to be difficult anyway. San Diego right now, they have some good talent. I mean, Keenan Allen, who's been hurt the last 2 years. Phillip Rivers is a top echelon quarterback. Melvin Gordon is a good player, but basically no one can stay healthy, and for a team to lose, and then they lost. Remember the game they lost week 1 when they were up with the Chiefs? They were up by how many points?
25 or so.
25 points, and they let Kansas City come back and win that game. Here they're up at home for 13 against New Orleans, and there's 5 minutes to go, and they lose that game. So. You got to, if you're going to micromanage, you're going to look at the head coach and say you blew 2 games that you should have won. And I think it's ultimately going to come down to the head coach. Is it all his fault? No, but you can't lose games when you're winning especially in the fourth quarter, especially at home. So San Diego's a mess. We'll see. They're probably going to break up shop there, and maybe it's a place Josh McDaniels goes to next year.
Cardinals quarterback Palmer put in concussion protocol. Cardinals quarterback Carson Palmer is in the league's concussion protocol, and his availability for the team's Thursday night game against the 49ers is in doubt.
I saw this, they actually cut to this game at the end of the night there. He got hit hard. Basically, Arizona has been as much as the Rams have been a surprise, the Cardinals have been an absolute disaster. I think they were exploited early when New England went on the road and beat them pretty handily on that, first Sunday night game. Carson Palmer, he gets hit, he gets whacked in the head. Now they're going back to Drew Stanton. The difference in this time is that when Drew Stanton came in last time, they still had quite a bit of a lead on the, in the division. They were over 500. Now they're 1-3. And it's not going to get any easier. I still think they'll win the game on Thursday at San Francisco because I think San Francisco's got a lot of problems as well. But the way the Cardinals go is they live and die with Carson Palmer and David Johnson. Really, teams have really taken him out of play in the last couple of games. He hasn't been a factor. So I think Bruce Arians has his work cut out for him, and I think this team really thought they were just going to show up this year and win 15 games, 14 games, and they found out real quick in the NFL that if you don't play a 4-quarter game, then you're never going to win. So I think they got a lot of problems, they got a lot of holes, they got a lot of issues, and they need to fix them quick, or they're going to, or the Rams are just going to run away with that division. Rams in Seattle. So
McCoy, quote, furious after latest Chargers collapse. After watching his team's 13-point lead slip away with 5 minutes left in Sunday's loss to the Saints, Chargers coach Mike McCoy described his mindset as, quote, furious.
Yeah, he should be furious. I mean, that's, the kind of errors that they made are mental errors. They're things that, coming up, knowing how to play the game of football, you got to know how to protect a lead and know that turning the ball over is the biggest thing that's going to cause you to lose a game in that situation. So, he should be furious. They've got to have a serious, one of those come to God meetings that Andy likes to talk about. They need one of those. And
Come to Jesus.
Come to Jesus. They need that in San Diego right now, and because basically it's gut check time for the people in that locker room. How do you want this season to play out? Do you want to be a sorry excuse for a football team that finds ways to lose, or are you going to show some pride in yourself and if for nobody else, if not for your city or your team, show pride in yourself and go out there and do your job. So that's what needs to happen in San Diego. I don't see it happening. I think that they're going to have a mediocre to poor year, and I don't think we'll be talking about in playoff time.
Dez in response, I'm, quote, America's most hated. Dez Bryant strongly denied Sunday he has showed a pattern of irresponsible behavior in his career that includes, according to sources, 20 to 40 late or missed meetings.
It's unacceptable, and Andy and Mike know how I feel about being on time and showing up when you're supposed to show up, and having respect for your team, and having respect for your managers and your head coaches and all that stuff. I saw him on the sidelines. He had to cut off sweatshirts, and he was all over the guy Williams who dropped that touchdown pass, and he really is not setting a good example. What he's saying is basically very similar to the person that we work with. He can pretty much do everything he wants and continue to do anything he wants and walk all over the head coach. And basically he gets away with it all, and nothing's ever going to be done to him. And because, in this case with Dez Bryant, who's really good at what he does, you can never bench him because he's a superstar, and you're going to deal with him. You're going to have to put up with this stuff. And, whether we talk about Odell Beckham, whether we talk about Dez Bryant, whether we talk about all these knuckleheads who are superior to their, the people they play against and play with, that they're always going to have different rules for different people. Unfortunately, guys aren't stupid. People at work aren't stupid. They see one guy getting away with just about everything under the sun, and then they're going to start complaining. It really separates one person from the rest of the people that actually show up on time and do their job and come to work and don't leave early. And, basically Dez Bryant is in the same class. Nothing's going to change because, he's that good that they're going to need him. Is he the most hated person? If not the most, one of the top three. But I think Dez Bryant has a lot of problems, and he's going to learn quick that he needs to start following the rules, or this isn't going to last forever. He's not going to be the king of Dallas forever. And guess what? Next time he has a job somewhere else, and a lot of people aren't going to let him get away with this
He'll
stuff.
shorten his career because of it.
Sure.
He'll be one of those guys at the end of his career. He's not going to be able to find a team, like a guy like T.O. who physically could still play. Teams didn't want to deal with the headache, and that'll be what happens to Dez Bryant towards the end of his career when he's not an elite caliber player anymore.
Sure. Browns release linebacker Bryant as suspension ends. On the first day he was eligible to return from his suspension, our linebacker Armonte Bryant was waived by the Browns.
It's the second time that didn't Oakland do the same thing.
Yeah.
I think just basically because once they can't release them once they're on. If they're on suspension, they have to wait for them to come off. Be healthy. Just like if a guy tears his leg up, they can't release him. They have to actually, put him on IR, then work out a settlement. So basically the same thing with this is, guys are getting suspended, and then once they think that they're okay, now I'm good to go, then they get the pink slip saying that now you're no longer property of in this case what was it, the Cleveland Browns, which is really difficult when you get their pink slip from the Cleveland Browns when they suck. So it's another thing, just like Tampa Bay, and we talked about with the Severian Jenkins and getting released, even though he's that good of a tight end. Different teams have different plan of actions. A lot of teams will let him get away with it. I think, like I said, these young guys getting in trouble, that getting cut and getting released is the best thing that's possibly going to happen to them.
Falcons linebacker Witherspoon ruptures Achilles. Falcons linebacker Sean Witherspoon told ESPN he ruptured his right Achilles tendon in Sunday's 48-33 win over the Panthers and will miss the remainder of the season.
It's unfortunate for Witherspoon and the Falcons defense. He's he's a solid linebacker there coming out of Missouri. He's got wheels at the linebacker position, so they're going to struggle to fill that void. The things that he can do for coverage at the linebacker position for them, they'll bring the next guy in, but it sucks for Witherspoon, who's a guy who's near, and he's going to be going into the backside of his career soon. So this isn't the way you want to start that off.
Caldwell says Tate's still a starter despite benching. Golden Tate is still a starter for the Detroit Lions at wide receiver after being benched during the second half of Sunday's 17-14 loss to the Chicago Bears.
I said, receivers especially. Now, a lot of these receivers, they isolate themselves from the team. Receivers and corners are kind of the same type of people. They're prima donnas. They think the world revolves around them. And Golden Tate thought, he's not getting utilized. He's not getting the ball. He's not having his catches. And probably said something to one of his position coach and got benched. I think that he still has a good amount of talent. Is he going to be benched next game? No. But mentally right now, he's really taking himself out of the game. He's benching himself more or less. And Detroit is going to let him do whatever he wants, as far as if he wants to take himself out of the game, fine, that's fine. We have other people that have been stepping up in your place, and Aquib Talib is, one of the best pro football players I've ever been around. This guy just keeps his mouth shut, and whether he's with Baltimore, San Francisco, or now Detroit, he always gets a job done. I think he is a borderline Hall of Famer. I'd put him in the Hall of Fame, but he just keeps his mouth shut and plays the game, which is complete opposite from a Golden Tate and Dez Bryant and Odell Beckham. But the bottom line is that Tate's going to get back in the offense somehow. It's just a question of when and how often. And then the only person that's really going to take him out of his own game is himself. So, we'll see what happens.
You got to think about, too, what they're looking for out of that receiver position, because if you're taking a guy like Golden Tate out and sitting him down, you're putting someone like Aquib Talib in. One of Aquib Talib's biggest strengths is one of Golden Tate's biggest weaknesses, and that's just catching the ball.
Sure.
That's just having great hands. And, he doesn't have the kind of speed that Golden Tate does. He's not going to stretch the field like that. But if they're looking for somebody dependable to catch the ball when it's thrown to him, Aquib Talib's their guy. So they're lucky to have him on the team.
Manziel files to protect rights to, quote, Johnny Football. A lawyer representing Johnny Manziel and his company filed paperwork with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office on Friday, one day before his, quote, Johnny Football nickname would have been abandoned.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? That's so sad.
Issues.
It's so sad that he's so concerned about his Johnny Football tagline, but he can't do anything to get himself on an actual football field and play a game. He's a joke. He's disgusting. Get him out of here.
Panthers unsure if Newton will play versus Bucks. The Panthers aren't clear at this point whether Cam Newton will be cleared from the concussion protocol in time for next Monday night's game against the Buccaneers.
I saw that hit, and I don't think he's going to be playing. I mean, Cam Newton is a female to begin with. I think he's a big baby. You don't see him jumping around and doing all those antics when they're 1-3. He's the ultimate. He's
the
a
biggest
great
poor
winner.
sport in football.
Yeah, and when he loses, he's like 2 years old. And the whole thing last year with not speaking to the media after the Super Bowl was a bunch of garbage. Whether you win or whether you lose, you stand up to the fucking media and you do that's your job. You can't just because you had a loss. We're not in sixth grade, we're not in fifth grade. This is he's a great winner. That's what my dad always says. He's a great winner. Meaning that his losses, he takes it like a little girl. My question to you, I have two questions for you guys. What is a bigger surprise? The Falcons being 3-1, or the Carolina?
Oh, it's easy. Carolina being 1-3 is a big surprise.
You think so?
Sure.
What about you, Big Tick?
Because Atlanta was like 6-0 starting last year until they shit the bed. So
yeah, no, I would say I think they're kind of equal. I mean, I'm not terribly shocked that Carolina, because did I expect more of them? Absolutely. Did I expect Atlanta to? So I mean, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other for me. I'm legitimately surprised by both, but not shocked by either.
What about more shocked? 1-3 for Arizona or 3-1?
1-3 for Arizona.
Really?
Yeah.
3-1 for who?
The Rams.
I'm more shocked about.
I didn't hear the answer to your question. 3-1 for the Rams. Correct.
But yeah, I
thought you were going back to the Carolina.
Really, just watching the Rams play as poorly as they did against the 49ers team that I think is no good. I thought at the time. So, and granted, I think they've taken advantage of 3 teams that are not where they want to be right now, as far as Seattle, Arizona, Tampa Bay. Those are all teams that had, Tampa Bay probably the least of the 3, but they all had decently high expectations coming into the season. Tampa Bay thought they'd be competing to be a playoff team. They're not. Arizona and Seattle. Seattle has played well. They've overcome a lot of things to get to that point, but I still don't think they're where they want to be. Sure. And then you have Arizona struggling like this. Sure. I think the Rams have made the best of good circumstance. They've had some receivers step up for them and make some big plays, but I am shocked that they're 3-1.
Me too.
Eagles Bradham brought loaded gun to airport. Eagles linebacker Nigel Bradham was arrested at Miami International Airport after authorities say TSA workers found a loaded gun in his backpack.
Bravo. It's just, it's... Stupid's not the word, because you know what I'm saying. It's just like we deal with stupid on a daily basis, and stupid is stupid. But I don't know what I mean.
Completely moronic,
retarded.
Absolutely,
but then people that are retarded are like it's not their fault. But stupid is just stupid.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is his fault, so this is much worse than that.
I can't put it. But I mean,
what did you think was going to happen?
I know.
What did you think? You think they're just, hey, you know what? You play in the NFL.
Yeah, you're a linebacker.
You take your loaded gun on that play.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Quinn expects Coleman with sickle cell to play Sunday. Falcons coach Dan Quinn said the team, quote, fully intends on having Tevin Coleman play Sunday, despite his concerns about having the sickle cell trait can affect him in the
Denver.
Yeah, this is where that always comes up because of how thin the air is up there. I'll tell you what. At the end of the day, this is a game that you're playing, and if you're going to take your life, I don't know specifically about the medical condition. I know Ryan Clark had it, and he never played in Denver because of it, and I think if it's something that could affect your life, you got to think about the people in your life, outside your life, and know that there's 15 other games you can play in. His case could be different. It could be something that's less dangerous for him. I don't know how it really works if there's different severities, but you just got to be careful with that kind of stuff because you're messing with your life.
Sure, and I was telling Andy, we played a preseason game in 2005 at Denver, and we had a guy die in the locker room because of the change in altitude.
Oh wow!
He went down. We took a knee, said the Lord's Prayer, and then he just fell over like a ton of bricks and died because of he wasn't able. No one knew, but he had something wrong with him that he wasn't able to be playing in that type of atmosphere.
Oh,
wow. I do agree with the big ticket on that, and I think if they're not. The thing is with this game is they're not expected to win. So if they can go in there with just Freeman as a running back, they don't necessarily need Coleman. Yes, he would help, but it's not something that you want to risk. Rest of the season, especially when you're 3-1. So I would agree with the big ticket on this one.
Norman jabs Panthers. Quote, you get what you pay for. Cornerback Josh Norman took a jab at his former team, the Carolina Panthers, after they were torched Sunday for 300 yards by Falcon star Julio Jones, saying, quote, you get what you pay for.
This guy,
good for him. Hey,
it's just why? What? You left, okay? You went to Washington. Don't criticize the team that you spent all year and got to the Super Bowl. Now you're gonna say something stupid.
We don't know what the situation is, behind the scenes.
Sure, but
why he didn't get his money or anything like that.
But all I'm saying is, now look at his teammates in Washington that just know him now, and then say, oh, if this guy leaves next year, he's gonna trash us as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like Washington is a world beater right now. They're struggling just to beat Cleveland, for God's sakes. I mean, they need to focus on these players just need to focus on what they can do to help their team win. And unfortunately, that is, you know, second or third to coming out on social media or saying stupid things that don't amount to anything. You know, they just want to be cool or whatever. But
Carolina deserves, I mean, in my opinion, the situation they're in right now is something that they've gone and refused to pay money to bring in big talent for years. And they've had Cam Newton, and it took them a long time to build a team around that, because you have to do it with draft picks, and because they're not willing to go out and spend the big money to get guys now. They have a secondary that is thin, incredibly thin, and they got torched by one of the best wide receivers in the league. I think Josh Norman is a guy that they should have put the money up to keep, because you know what you have in Josh Norman. They didn't, and yeah, it's a little bit of a douchey move for Norman to go out and take jobs at him, and I know that stuff pisses you off, but I think that Carolina deserves everything that they have coming to them right now.
Jets cornerback Revis has mild hamstring strain. Jets cornerback Darrelle Revis has a mild hamstring strain. Coach Todd Bowles said it's too early to tell whether Revis will be available on Sunday against the Steelers.
Well, I think, you know, Revis is definitely showing his age. He's clearly on the back nine of his career. He's clearly not the playing at the level that he was.
It's not Revis Island anymore.
It's not Revis Island. It's Revis Island was just taken out by Hurricane Matthew. Revis Island no longer exists. He's been beaten pretty handily these first 4 weeks of the year. He's kind of just there now. I mean, he's not the same player.
He's still drawing the toughest matchups. He's still taking on the best receivers in the league.
He's clearly a step, maybe 2 steps, you know, behind where he was, and that's just human. That's just living life. And the fact of the matter is, your skills are going to decrease as you get older.
He's getting older. He's had injuries.
He's still getting paid a lot of money. They need him to start making big plays. But the bottom line is that the Darrelle Revis is that we know. That we knew in New England for a year is no longer the same guy. So, you know, he's the type of guy I mean, he's all about money. You know, that's the first thing about him is that, you know, he is, you know, clearly about money. He was offered
paid him $16 million a year.
Yeah,
for exactly. 1 year.
So, you know, I have mixed feelings on Revis because he was part of the Patriots and, you know, he did play well. But then, you know, when his cap number was $21 million next year, you know, they got rid of him. So I don't feel bad because he's on the Jets, but at the same time, to answer your question, he's just not the same player he has been.
49ers Bowman out for season with Achilles tear. San Francisco 49ers linebacker Navarro Bowman is out for the season with a torn left Achilles tendon.
That's absolutely horrible for a guy who has gone through a lot as far as injuries are concerned, to, you know, be able to be the type of pro player that he's been. One of the best linebackers on a team filled with great linebackers for years. I love Navarro Bowman coming out of Penn State. I thought he should have been a first-round pick. Injury concerns were the reason that he wasn't. And, you know, he's getting to the point now where he's well into his 30s, I believe.
I don't think he's that old.
But he's had some serious injuries.
Well, he's been injured pretty much. You know, he's lost, you know, pretty much 3 full seasons. You know, I was there in San Francisco when it was him and Willis, and at the time they were the best linebacking duo in the NFL. The two of them had over 110, 120 tackles. And then ever since in the NFC Championship, or I think it was the NFC, or the divisional championship, when he went down against Seattle, and just, you know, his whole knee just, you know, hasn't been the same. You know, I don't know what kind of player, you know, he's going to be coming back, but, you know, all these injuries take a toll. He's a great guy. You know, he's a humble guy. He keeps his mouth shut. And when healthy is, you know, top 2 or 3 middle linebacker in the league, but unfortunately he can't stay healthy, so I feel bad for him. He's a good guy.
Yep. Kubiak, quote, fortunate Simeon injury wasn't worse. Broncos coach Gary Kubiak said quarterback Trevor Siemian's left shoulder is, quote, just really, really sore, and he expects Siemian to play Sunday if he progresses as expected.
Well, you better hope he gets back out there because he's got Paxton Lynch breathing down his neck. And they spent a first-round pick on that kid. They're going to give him a shot at some point to see if he can be the quarterback of that team. And the only way that he can prevent that, Trevor Siemian, is by going out there and continuing to play well. So any time when he's not on the field is going to jeopardize his career in Denver. So if there's any chance of him being able to buck up and play, he's got to go out there and do it, because I think when Paxton Lynch gets his shot, and I think he's going to make the most of it, and I think Paxton Lynch is going to be a quality quarterback in the league for years. And I'm saying that, based on what I saw in college, based on what I saw in the preseason. I had Paxton Lynch as my number one quarterback coming out of this draft. So, I think that when he gets his opportunity, he'll make the most of it. Siemian has to do what he can now to play well, to either try and keep this Denver job or be able to go and get another starting job when, Lynch overtakes him for it, which I think is inevitable.
Bills Ryan.
Can I say something real quick?
Sure.
Big tickets right on the money. I was able to scout Paxton Lynch for 2 years because I was at UConn. We played Memphis, and it wasn't always a great game to watch. UConn against Memphis, better basketball game. But Paxton Lynch is, he really, from where he started when he was a freshman or sophomore in college to where he is now, the big ticket was right on the money. He told me last winter, that this was his guy. And I think you got to give him a lot of credit. You got to give Kubiak a lot of credit. You got to give, what's his name? Elway a lot of credit for having him ready. He came in that game, and the team didn't lose a step. He was able to use his legs and make plays out of the pocket, which is what is going to be one of his best suits. I think just the fact that Trevor Siemian has played the way he has played has been a brilliant move by Elway. Elway had this guy, from day one, he was going to be the guy, and you got to give Elway a lot of credit with that. I think, he's ahead of the game with the fact of the matter that he is a two-time Super Bowl winning quarterback, and he really knows what a quarterback needs to do. And I guess, either one, Siemian or Lynch, I'm very, very shocked at the way the offense has really turned around, and it's even a better offense than what they had last year with Peyton Manning, plus their defense.
And Osweiler, both those guys have played better than either of them.
So I think he's got two blue chips, depending on how he wants to play it, but I think definitely Paxton Lynch is going to be a good quarterback for the future.
Bills Ryan, quote, BSing about having Pat's source. Bills coach Rex Ryan said he was just messing with the Patriots when he said he had a source inside the New England team.
Oh, shut up, Rex. Nobody cares.
Jeff Fischer fires back at Bruce Arians 2 years after, quote, always 8-8 comment. After a big win in Arizona on Sunday, Rams coach Jeff Fischer finally had a chance to get the last word on Cardinals coach Bruce Arians.
That's funny.
It's one of those things,
it's funny because it's true.
What goes around comes around.
It's funny because it's a zebra.
And just like Andy we were talking about the other night with karma and all that other stuff, and I'm a big believer in that. And it always seems like when you're a big team and you can really piss on the less fortunate teams, and then they can come back and they beat you in your own building. I think you feel like shit, but also the person who's been shitted on for the last couple of years feels that much better. So it doesn't really mean anything, but the bottom line is that Jeff Fischer is tap dancing to the tulips these last couple of weeks with his mustache. So
there you go.
Source, Gordon to stay on reserve suspended list. Browns receiver Josh Gordon, who was suspended for the first 4 games of the 2016 season, will remain on the reserve suspended list until further notice, a source told ESPN's Field Yates.
I'm assuming he failed the drug test, just because of the way everything has kind of come out. The first thing you heard was that he's going back to rehab. No, they were going to cut him. Last I heard, he hasn't been cut yet, but And I don't know if they can cut him if he's suspended, because technically his suspension was never lifted.
Sure.
I'm assuming it was never lifted because he failed a drug test that nobody heard about. Because then he decided, I'm going back to rehab. Josh Gordon, based on everything I know of Josh Gordon, isn't going to be the type of guy who's like, I'm just going to go to rehab to better myself. No, somebody's making him go to rehab because basically he fucked up again.
Yep.
And what a waste. What a waste of an incredible talent. When he played, the last full season that he played, he was one of the best receivers in the NFL. And I'm saying up there with the top guys in the league. You could make an argument he was the best receiver in the league. And now the only time we talk about him is when you hear that he's selling cars somewhere during his suspension, and he's staying in shape. He's hanging out with Johnny Manziel. Like all this stupid crap, and he's thrown away and this is the crazy thing. He's only like 25, 26 years old. He could get his act together. He could come back and he could play. But then, because with talent like Josh Gordon's, they will give you an unlimited amount of chances to come back and do it. But he's gonna test the theory apparently, because
the Big Bang Theory.
He was one of the best receivers in the league, and to watch it dissolve into this is
and
really
it's been, how long has it been since he played? 3 years? 2 years?
Yeah, I think it was like 2013, 14 maybe.
Cardinals quarterback Palmer improving after concussion. Arizona Cardinals quarterback Carson Palmer made strides overnight toward returning from a concussion, Coach Bruce Arians said Monday.
Well, he's not going to play for sure against San Francisco. They need him to be healthy. So actually, they should consider themselves lucky to the fact of the matter that he went down and now they're playing San Francisco. And what it does is it gives him almost 2 weeks to get better.
They're lucky Carson Palmer wants to come back at all.
Sure.
We're talking about a guy who's already retired once. And,
but I mean, they're paying him a lot of money, and
it's true.
He's worth every penny. But
with the way things have started off so far this year, I've always considered Carson Palmer as like the quitter type, and I don't really know the guy, but like when you look at how things went in Kansas City, and then he went to Oakland and just is like, get me the hell out of Oakland, I'm done, I don't care.
Yeah.
And then things went well in Arizona.
He was Kansas City?
No, did I say Kansas City?
He was with Cincinnati.
No, Cincinnati, then Oakland.
Yeah.
Now he's in Arizona, and things have went well in Arizona.
Sure.
He's a great winner, but when things aren't going well for him, he's like done. So
I want to play with a dolly.
I'm surprised he's.
I want a dolly.
We'll see if he comes back and what good he'll be.
He'll be back. No, he'll be fine. He'll be back. I mean, he's got too many weapons.
He hasn't played super well up until this point. So if he comes back, we'll see how he does when he comes back.
Sure.
OBJ appeared to brush into official after play. New York Giants receiver Odell Beckham Jr. appeared to brush an official while protesting a taunting penalty he received in the second quarter against the Minnesota Vikings.
He's such a piece of shit, this guy.
We were watching that game.
We were watching it, and he's just he's out of control. He is out of control.
He's becoming more, and the thing that it is now is that he's not backing it up on the field.
Correct.
He's not playing well. No. So now it's becoming more about the story and more about the gossip and the headlines. And now this is when he truly becomes a distraction to his team. Because when you're not putting up the numbers and you're not doing the things to contribute to your team winning, and this is all we're talking about is all the stupid things that you're doing week after week after week, now you're distracted. Now you're hurting your football team. He needs to stop. He needs to recommit himself to being a better football player. And get his career back on track before he, derails himself, basically.
Exactly. When he was a rookie, he just kept his mouth shut and played football. Those days are over. But, he should, I'm sure Victor Cruz is trying to work with him. But, obviously it's not helping.
Bucks Cotter. McCoy with his calf could sit out week 5. Bucks coach Dirk Cotter acknowledged, quote, there's a chance the team could be without Pro Bowl defensive tackle Gerald McCoy for next week's game against the Panthers because of a calf injury.
So, Dirk Cotter.
Yeah, Cotter.
And,
Cotter? What do I say, Cotter?
Cotter. But,
Cotter.
McCoy is the best player on our defense, so it's important that he's there. It's been a disappointing start to the season. Regardless, there's no way that you can slice it.
How long of a leash does Cutter have?
He'll have at least a year because they hired him specifically to be the guy that works for Jameis Winston.
And he's taken 2 steps back.
It'll be this. They'll give
2
him.
steps
There's
forward,
no way he
2
gets fired
steps
before
back.
the season's over.
No, I'm not saying that, but
yeah, I mean, I don't think it's much longer than that.
I digress.
It hasn't looked good. The teams the Bucks have had issues at offensive line for what feels like a decade now. And the funny thing is we draft a lot of offensive linemen, and it just keeps not working out. And you can't protect a guy like Jameis Winston. He's not going to be productive. And there's a lot that this team needs to do, and it's unfortunate because the offense looked good enough last year to where you thought the Bucks could turn the corner and be a team that, competed for the playoffs, but they haven't looked like it so far. And losing McCoy is just going to make it worse. It's going to make a struggling team worse.
OBJ, I have to understand I'm a targeted player. Giants receiver Odell Beckham Jr. said Monday night that he must understand he is one of the NFL's most targeted players and accept blame even in incidents in which others are involved.
It's stupid stuff like this that makes you a targeted player. You running your mouth about how you're a targeted player makes you more of a targeted player. So you know what? Like, you're bringing it on yourself. Just shut up and play football, and you won't have any problems. You don't see, what is the difference between you and other guys who aren't targeted players? You just yapping.
Julio Jones.
Keep yapping.
Antonio Brown, Calvin Benjamin, A.J. Green. All these top-notch receivers, you don't hear a peep from them. Whether they're, you don't hear Julio Jones after 300-yard day coming out and he's the same demeanor, same type of through and through. That's the difference. Is that you're always going to have Beckhams, you're always going to have Dez Bryants, and I'm just sick of talking. I'm sick of talking about.
Pete Carroll, quote, "There's a chance this could be best Seahawks team." Pete Carroll believes the Seahawks' experience and leadership gives them a chance to be great this year.
I agree with it, based on what I've seen out of the team with what they've had to go through up until this point. They're playing with a resilience where, Seattle has had a lot of stuff go their way in the last few years with a lot of calls that went their way and a lot of, obviously they gave that Super Bowl away to New England when they threw that interception, but getting up until that point and then the year before they had a lot of stuff going their way, just seemed like they kept rolling and rolling and rolling. And now, up until this point this year, it hasn't been, business as usual, just keep rolling, but they're still finding a way to win football games. So I think if people can get healthy and they keep playing like they are, this may be the best Seahawks team we've seen.
Cowboys Collins has surgery to be put on IR. Cowboys guard Lael Collins will be placed on injured reserve after having surgery on his right big toe, Coach Jason Garrett says.
Big toe.
Yeah, it's a big loss.
Big toe, it's a big toe.
Yeah, their offensive line, even, injured, is still the best offensive line. There's really not even a close second. But, they're going to miss him for sure.
They've got some depth there, so they'll plug somebody in.
Norman, Jones made, quote, disrespectful Panthers pay. Former Panthers cornerback Josh Norman said his former team was, quote, disrespectful to have rookies James Bradbury and Darryl Worley over Falcons wide receiver Julio Jones.
I agree. And again, this is probably a situation where Josh Norman's running his mouth when he doesn't have to, but what he's saying is absolutely correct. When you watch the way that Carolina tried to cover one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, it wasn't only disrespectful, it was stupid. It was stupid to let a guy see one-on-one coverage ever. Like, he should never see one-on-one coverage. He should never have rookie corners covering him as the primary guy. Like it was disrespectful to a guy who's one of the best receivers in the NFL, and I'm glad that he made them pay for it because he's way better than that. He deserves the focus on the defensive side of the ball. 100% of the time, he's the best player they have.
Ravens release running back Forsett in, quote, mutual decision. The Ravens will release Justin Forsett in a move described as, quote, mutual decision between the team and the veteran running back.
They basically said, you're not going to get the ball anymore, and he's like, I don't want to be here.
Sure.
Mutual decision.
Yeah, I think basically, Forsett really... I remember this kid. He was actually at our local combine. He was
a concubine.
He came out of Cal. I think he was actually drafted in the 6th or 7th round. Anyway, he's a tiny guy. He came for the local pro day. A lot of guys that are draft eligible don't come and work out. But he did, and he was lightning fast. And the other guy that year was the guy that went to Green Bay, the receiver from San Jose State. He's a pretty good player. Can't think of his name, but
I'm trying to think of who went to. Was it Devontae Adams?
No,
Who went to San Diego State?
Big guy. Anyway,
Uh-huh.
I think he. They got their money's worth out of him, so it's time to move on.
Arians, quote, "There's a chance Palmer plays Thursday." Carson Palmer attended team meetings Tuesday as he continued to recover from a concussion he suffered in Sunday's loss, but the possibility he plays Thursday is still up in the air.
They shouldn't do it because, like
I don't
Pat
see
said,
how. Yeah.
they need him to be around for the end of the season. If you come back from a concussion too early, the biggest thing you risk is another concussion, and that protocol is something where you see guys get into it and not be able to make their way out because they can't get right, they can't get healthy, and they need him for the end of the season. They got to find a way to try and win without him.
Jaguars Jokel to have surgery headed to IR. Jaguars left guard Luke Jokel will have surgery on his left knee and could miss the rest of the season as he'll be placed on IR.
He's been a pretty big disappointment.
Yeah.
Coming out of Texas A&M.
Sure.
The guy that they thought could be the anchor at left tackle, they moved him to left guard because he wasn't playing well at left tackle. You've seen a lot of these top offensive linemen, and it never used to be this way. And I don't know if you can speak on this at all, Pat, but you've seen a lot of these top offensive linemen being busts in these last few years, and this guy is one of them.
I think that the difference is these guys aren't mean. They're not. They don't have that tenacity. I think the last offensive lineman that we're ever going to see with that tenacity is a guy like what's his name that used to play for the Patriots. Logan Mankins had that I won't swear, but that tenacity. He played a whole season with a torn ACL. I mean, he just played football. I mean, football. You look at all these Orlando Pace and all these
John
guys,
Runyon.
these guys that will eat steak and while they're eating steak, is they're going to drive your head into the ground. There's no prima donnas. And the old offensive linemen in the NFL, they were the toughest guys.
They were men,
and a lot of them, had that, the Midwest strong, the country strong, which is arguably the strongest guys out there. I think a lot of these guys are babied. I think a lot of them aren't tested. Now the offenses are also different in the NFL compared to college football, where the college football is more of a spread offense now. So these guys aren't really, digging in and doing, a full pass rush because the quarterbacks are trying to get rid of the ball easier. So it's really more difficult to evaluate these guys. I mean, now, you in the past, anytime you draft an offensive lineman or a tackle or a guard in the first round, it was already, out of all the positions, he was exactly for 10 to 15 years. Now it's really, you see a lot of these guys getting injured. You see a lot of these guys.
You got your Jokel, your Eric Fischer, you all these top tackles that went.
And they're getting they get their ass beat by veteran defensive ends, and that's the thing is, once a defensive end sees one way he can beat you, he's going to expose that for the rest of the game. And it's very rare now that you see guys that can are that tough and that strong that can really stand up.
Enough?
Like Matt Light, and another tough bastard is Joe Staley and
Joey Andruzzi.
Joey Andruzzi, as much as I don't like him, Damian Woody was a good player. I like Joe Andruzzi. I don't like Damian Woody, but those days are over.
Tomlin wants clarity on unsportsmanlike penalties. Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin would like some clarity on what is acceptable for end zone celebrations by NFL players.
Yeah, wouldn't we all? Like, nobody really knows. It just seems like anything Antonio Brown does is going to get a penalty now. I think it's mostly the hip gyration. I think the thrusting,
the Vlad hug,
if you will, is what's getting them these penalties because But initially it was, the ball touches the ground, it's a penalty. Your hand touches the ground, it's a penalty. Like, give me a break. If somebody torches you and scores a touchdown, deal with it. Let them dance. Unless they're gonna hold up the actual playing of the game. I think it's ridiculous to be calling a penalty on somebody because they decided to take 2 minutes and bask in the celebration of what they did on a huge stage. Like, I think as long as you're not doing things that are inappropriate, I don't see why we've got to make it so the no fun league is just exactly that.
Exactly.
And I think the fans would like it. It'd become more of a fan-friendly sport. You'd sell more tickets. You'd sell more merchandise. I don't understand the theory behind why we have to limit this kind of thing.
Linebacker Hawk signs with Falcons. Witherspoon to IR. The Falcons have signed linebacker A.J. Hawk, who will help fill a void for the Falcons after the team lost Sean Witherspoon for the season.
A.J. Hawk is I remember when he came out of Ohio State. Was drafted by Green Bay. Surprised that he was on the street, but he still has enough in the tank to help that team out.
OBJ, quote, not having fun anymore playing football. Odell Beckham Jr. is frustrated with the increased amount of attention on his behavior during games and said he is, quote, not having fun anymore playing football.
It's his fault.
No way. He doesn't have fun going to work. Welcome to everybody else's life.
Yeah.
I don't have fun playing football. Let's cry about it a little bit. And I haven't been the kind of guy who hates Odell Beckham like Pat has hated Odell Beckham, but I'm becoming that guy based on how much I have to hear about all the stupid crying. No, I do not have Odell Beckham.
Lions awarded ex-Browns linebacker Bryant via waivers. The Lions claimed linebacker defensive end Armonte Bryant off waivers Tuesday after he was cut by the Browns. Detroit placed Wallace Gilberry, the team's number 3 defensive end, on injured reserve with an abdominal injury.
Irrelevant.
Yeah.
NFL to handle refs' obscenity on live mic internally. The NFL will
all
internally.
he said was shit, right?
The NFL will internally address referee Pete Morelli's recent broadcast of a profanity at Gillette Stadium.
Profanity.
But it does not appear Morelli will face suspension for the incident.
Give me a break. What is this?
There's no place for profanity in the workplace.
No.
Riley Jr.
You probably got a note to file.
Riley Jr. to Raiders rejoins high school teammate Irvin. Linebacker Perry Riley Jr. is signing with the Raiders and will reunite with former high school teammate Bruce Irvin. Oakland placed linebacker Ben Heaney on IR in a corresponding move.
No.
Sources: Eagles expect Johnson to play Sunday. Philadelphia Eagles right tackle Lane Johnson is expected to play Sunday against the Lions, sources told ESPN's Adam Kaplan.
Good, they need him.
Report: Talib won't be charged for shooting himself. Good. Dallas police have concluded their investigation of the shooting of Broncos cornerback Aquib Talib. They have said he shot himself in the leg, according to a report.
Nice. Good for him. I'll tell you what an idiot. This guy, he was a first-round pick by the Bucs. I used to cheer for this guy, and hope for his success. And because of all the stupid stuff he did, we had to get rid of him. If you want to say anything good about the Buccaneers, they have shown little tolerance for people being bad people and staying within the organization. They tend to get rid of guys when stuff like this happens. We shipped off Aquib Talib. He's continued to play well and act stupid. So this is kind of funny to me, but I guess he already punished himself by shooting himself in the leg. So
Coughlin offers to help OBJ. NFL eyes provocation. Former Giants coach Tom Coughlin says he's willing to help frustrated receiver Odell Beckham Jr., who has become a distraction.
If there's anyone that can do it, it's Tom Coughlin.
Source: Redskins part ways with defensive end Reyes. The Redskins, who have struggled to stop the run this season, have cut defensive end Kendall Reyes, a source confirmed to ESPN.
Former Husky, UConn.
NFL to clarify unsportsmanlike flags with video. NFL teams will receive a video to clarify what constitutes an unsportsmanlike penalty, Senior Vice President of Officiating Dean Blandino said.
Just get rid of it. Just get rid of it. I don't understand where the NFL had to make everything so complicated. You don't even know what a catch is anymore. You don't know what unsportsmanlike conduct is anymore. You can hit people in the face, but only certain times and certain ways can you put your hands on the face of it. Give me a break. Just make a set of rules, make it easy for everybody to understand.
It's just It's just like a couple people that we know at work that work at the SAD desk who thinks they have the ultimate power and they can control everything. And the refs are pretty much, a non-factor to a game of football unless they want to be a factor, and they're really coming in and especially in the fourth quarter, they're making these stupid flags that cost teams games and really take the fun out of the game. Like the no fun league.
Speaking of not being a factor, Chargers Verrett has torn ACL, will have surgery. Chargers cornerback Jason Verrett has a torn ACL and will undergo season-ending surgery, he said Wednesday.
Yeah, so I mean, the kid is a good player, and not having him there is only gonna fulfill the prophecy of Pat of where they will be done for the year.
Beaten Ravens fan shown signs of improvement. Ravens fan Joseph Bauer, who was assaulted last Sunday by two Raiders fans at M&T Bank Stadium, is showing signs of improvement, his sister told the Baltimore Sun.
I heard about this. Two Raider fans from New York beat this guy to a pulp. Then that's just the Raiders for you.
Are they in jail?
I don't know.
Are they charged? This is unacceptable. There's no place for that kind of crap.
Synthetic marijuana added to NFL's banned list. The NFL and NFLPA added synthetic marijuana to its list of banned substances, one of 9 drugs that are part of the league's standard drug testing panel.
Well, that's Jones, right?
Yep. Struggling Colts released defensive back Cromartie, linebacker Moore. The Colts released 2 defensive starters on Tuesday, defensive back Antonio Cromartie and linebacker C.O. Moore.
C.O. Moore, another UConn grad. Cromartie,
former top guy in the league,
shit.
But he's definitely lost a step in the last couple of years.
Redskins signed safety Whitner. Bruton Jr. hits IR. The Redskins added help in their secondary Wednesday, signing veteran safety Dante Whitner and Josh Evans after placing David Bruton Jr. on injured reserve.
As far as Dante Whitner goes, the only guy maybe relevant in this. He used to be a top guy out in Buffalo. He's taken a couple steps back over the years, but he's got something to offer the team.
Texans left tackle Brown expects to return Sunday. Texans left tackle Dwayne Brown says he expects to make his season debut Sunday. He hasn't played since tearing the quadriceps tendon in his right knee in last year's season finale.
Super
good player.
Yeah, for where he was drafted, I think he's been a little bit of a disappointment.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's a guy that, if Osweiler's going to have any chance of being productive, they got to protect him, so it'll help him.
Justin Forsett looking for new team via Twitter. The Baltimore Ravens released running back Justin Forsett this week, but Forsett clearly hasn't lost confidence in his football abilities or his personal appearance.
In his personal appearance?
That's what it says.
Yeah, I don't know. He's got a shot. As long as... I don't know what his off-the-field resume is like, if he's out there doing stupid stuff in his downtime.
He's not a bad...
But if not, he should get a shot somewhere to
He'll get picked up for sure.
He'll get picked up.
Lions tight end Ebron likely out Sunday, source says. Lions starting tight end Eric Ebron, ankle and knee, is not expected to play Sunday against the visiting Philadelphia Eagles, a league source told ESPN's Adam Kaplan.
This guy, he came out of North Carolina, by far was the best tight end in that draft. Really hasn't stayed healthy. Kind of, got that curse of being drafted by Detroit, and really, hasn't stayed healthy and hasn't really
He's been a little bit
connected with Matt Stafford.
Simeon expects to play Sunday. Kubiak may wait. Broncos quarterback Trevor Simeon's shoulder said he will play Sunday against the Falcons, but Coach Gary Kubiak could wait until Sunday to see if Simeon is ready to play.
Yeah, I think he'll probably will wait until, game time or so, and then he'll have to make a decision on whether or not he thinks Simeon is going to go out there and help the team win, or he's going to be, a weakness out there. Because if he thinks that the injury is going to keep him from performing at a high level, then he'll put Paxton Lynch in there, no problem. Simeon's going to want to be out there, like I said before, so he'll give it everything he's got to be ready.
All right, it is time. We're 25% of the way in the season. So let's go quickly recap the standings here. We're 4 games in. In the AFC East, in first place, New England Patriots 3-1-0. Second place, Buffalo Bills 2-2-0. And then tied for third, the New York Jets and Miami Dolphins, both at 1 and 3. In the AFC North, Pittsburgh Steelers and Baltimore Ravens are tied for first at 3 and 1. Cincinnati Bengals in third at 2 and 2, and then last Cleveland 0 and 4, the only winless team in the NFL. AFC South in first place, the Houston Texans at 3 and 1, and tied for second, the Jaguars, Titans, and Colts all at 1 and 3. In the AFC West, the Denver Broncos are 4 and 0 and in first place. Second place, the Oakland Raiders at 3 and 1. Third place, the Chiefs at 2 and 2, and in last place, the Chargers at 1 and 3. In the National Football Conference in the NFC East, the Philadelphia Eagles are in first place at 3 and 0. Second place, Dallas Cowboys 3 and 1. Tied for third, Washington Redskins and New York Giants at 2 and 2. In the NFC North, in first place, the Minnesota Vikings at 4 and 0. Second place, Green Bay Packers at 2 and 1, and tied for third, the Chicago Bears and Detroit Lions both at 1 and 3. In the NFC South, in first place, the Atlanta Falcons 3 and 1, and tied for second, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Carolina Panthers, and the New Orleans Saints all at 1 and 3. In the NFC West,
I'll tell you what,
place,
Atlanta. This is Atlanta's time to really put the throttle down and capitalize.
We'll see if they
in
do.
first place in the NFC West, tied for first, we have the Los Angeles Rams and Seattle Seahawks, both at 3 and 1. And tied for third, we have the San Francisco 49ers and Arizona Cardinals, both at 1 and 3. Now, the team who has scored the most points so far this season looks like it is the Atlanta Falcons at 152. And the team that has allowed the least amount of points so far this season are the Philadelphia Eagles at 27.
Yeah, their defense has looked incredible so far.
Well, let's keep it all in mind that they haven't played anybody yet. They played Pittsburgh, but they defeated
Pittsburgh, who tore apart Kansas City. Yeah, they've got a great offense. So.
All right, let's go right on into last week. Now, this is interesting. We have 3 people who are disqualified. Ex-Captain Erroneous X, he's disqualified because he missed a game. C&J Sports Cards missed a game. Vadix tried to help him out, and then 2 days later he responded with the pick that he wanted. So he is disqualified. So C&J Sports Cards, I'm sorry, you're disqualified. Ex-Captain Erroneous X, I'm sorry, you're disqualified. And then Steve Goldman knows he's disqualified because he just didn't put his picks in because, as he commented, I was tied up by a woman all night in my bed and I had fun. So going into last week's picks, CV Gunn went 8 and 7. Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. went 10 and 5. Yes to Anything That Is Cool Awesome 11 and 4, and Vadix 8 and 7. So the updated standings: in first place we have Yes to Anything That Is Cool and Awesome at 39 and 23. That's first place. Second place we have Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Sr. 37. Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. Who is 37 and 25. He is 2 games behind. In third place, we have CV Gunn at 36 and 26. He is 3 games behind. And in last place, we have Vadix at 31 and 31. So he is 8 games behind. If I've done that correct, I think I have. Now, in the Better Late Than Never division, we had Cali Guy, who went 4 and 11 last week. And you are correct. I did give you an extra win by accident 2 weeks ago. So I've corrected that. And then Andy Pichardo, you went 9 and 6 last week. So in first place in the Better Late Than Never division, we have Andy Pichardo at 28 and 19. And then the only other guy is Cali Guy, who is at 21 and 26. He is 7 games behind. Okay. And then as far as us go, me and Pat both went 11 and 4, and the big ticket went 8 and 7. So the updated standings here, we have.
Well, we said that you were either going to take
I was either going to soar or I was going to crash and burn.
So Mclovin is in first place at 40 and 22. Second place, the big ticket.
Big week this week.
Second place, the big ticket at 38 and 24. He is 2 games behind. And then I'm in last place at 37 and 25, 3 games behind, but 1 game behind the big ticket for second. So let's go right on into the games. Now we're going to go into the spread first. You went 11 and 4 last week, and here's the thing, folks: if you guys aren't fucking taking the free fucking shit, what the fuck are we doing? What are we doing? It's free. You just got to bet. All you got to do is bet. He went 11 and 4 last week.
4 and 2.
4 and 2.
Yeah.
What's 4 and 2?
Mine
bets.
Between you 2.
Games.
Yeah.
Between you 2.
It was 6 games. It was 4 and 2. We'll figure it out after.
All right, here's the deal. So you won 11 and 4. So where are we up now? You're at 65%.
11 and 4. I have basically out of 63 games, I've covered the spread in 22, 32, 41 out of 63, which is a 65% clip, which is out of this entire world. 65% for the first 4 weeks is top notch, and it's all free for you guys to start charging you.
All right, so Thursday night game, we have Cardinals at 49ers. Arizona on the road is favored by 4.
Wow, last night it was 2.5. I'm going to take Arizona -4.
Okay. Then Sunday the 9th, Patriots at Cleveland. Pats are favored by 10.5 on the road.
Cleveland plus 10.5.
Okay. Then we have Eagles at Lions. Philadelphia on the road is favored by 3.
Philly -3.
Then we have Bears at the Colts. The Colts at home are favored by 4.5.
Indy -4.5.
All right. Then we have Titans at Dolphins. Miami at home is favored by 3.5.
Titans plus 3.5.
Redskins at Ravens. Ravens at home are favored by 4.
Redskins at Ravens. Give me the Skins +4.
Okay, Washington +4. Texans at Vikings. Minnesota at home is favored by 6.5.
Minnesota -6.5.
Okay, Jets at Steelers. Pittsburgh at home is favored by 7.
Jets +7.
Okay, Falcons at Broncos. Denver at home is favored by 5.5. This is the first 4:05 game.
Falcons plus
5.5.
5.5. That's a big number to give Atlanta.
4:25 game. Bengals at Dallas. Cincinnati on the road is favored by 1.
Cincinnati -1.
Okay, then we have the Bills at Los Angeles. At home, Los Angeles is favored by 2.5.
Rams -2.5.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. And then Chargers at Oakland. Oakland at home is favored by 3.5.
Chargers plus 3.5.
And then we have the Giants, the Sunday night game, Giants at Packers. Green Bay at home is favored by 7.5.
Giants plus 7.5.
And then the Monday night game, Buccaneers at Carolina.
Oh,
no
God,
line on
what
that.
a terrible game.
No line on that.
I think the line. What did I see? There is a line on it. Oh, my phone's dead.
It's gonna. A lot of it'll depend on.
I think it was Carolina. Carolina's at home, right?
Correct.
Was it? It was 3.5 or 4, something like that. Click on it. Maybe.
There's nothing.
Okay, I know, but try. Google,
I can't,
but Google, just Google the game.
Hunt and pack.
This is on oddshark.com. And still don't have a line.
Pick 'em.
It won't be pick 'em. I'll just take.
No, I'm sure it won't be by the time the game
No.
starts. But right now it might be because nobody knows if Cam's going to play or not.
That's true.
Because if Cam doesn't play, then Carolina might not even.
Well, this is what I will do. Okay, when the line becomes available.
Well, we can't do an updated thing.
Well, then this is what I'll say.
We just won't take this game.
No, I'll go out on a limb and I'll take Carolina, whatever the point, the minus whatever the points are.
So Carolina minus whatever.
Correct.
Okay, Carolina minus.
Which is relative.
But if they're whoa, because if Tampa Bay's minus 3, then Carolina's plus the points.
So then
I'm taking Carolina
with the
either
points.
way.
Okay, so Carolina plus or minus.
Okay.
Yes.
Why
Okay.
would he not take Carolina with the points if he was going to take him as an underdog?
Yeah,
Think about it.
I know what you're saying. He doesn't know what you're saying.
No, I do know what you're saying, but the way you phrased it was you're taking
Sure.
Carolina minus no matter what.
Because he's assuming they'll be the favorite.
Correct, but in the event that they're not, that's why I wanted to clarify.
Well, if they become
If you're
the
going to
dogs,
take Carolina
yeah,
as an
it's the same
underdog,
thing.
you'd always take him as a
It's the
favorite.
same thing.
Okay, so now we're at. I don't want to get your verbiage screwed against you because somebody lawyer in the comments section will say no. You said minus and all this other stuff.
Well, he needs
here
to
we
quit
go.
his day job if he's making comments on the Mclovin show.
All right, so here's the deal. So we're going to do this straight up picks. Here we go, folks. Let's go back to.
Straight pick 'em.
Gonna go back to where the hell we were. Oh, now it's all over the place.
Good baseball game on tonight.
Yeah.
Let's go, Mets.
Oh, hello over here. All right, Cardinals and 49ers. Who do you have?
Cardinals.
We'll take the Cardinals.
All three picking Arizona. Then we have Patriots and Browns.
Patriots.
New England, all three. Eagles, Lions.
Eagles.
Eagles.
Yep. Philadelphia, all three. Bears, Colts.
Colts.
Colts, all three. Titans, Dolphins.
Titans.
Dolphins.
I'm taking, Mike and Andy are taking the Titans. Redskins, Ravens.
Skins.
I'll take Baltimore.
Okay, so Pat and Andy are taking Washington. Texans, Vikings.
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 Yeah, Minnesota, all three. Jets, Steelers,
Pittsburgh.
all three. Falcons, Broncos.
Broncos.
Man, I want to take Atlanta so badly.
Do it then.
I got a 2-game lead, right? 2-game lead.
On me.
Time to get cute.
Yeah, 2-game lead on him.
I'll take Atlanta.
Yeah, that's I am as well. So Pat and Andy, Atlanta. Okay. Bengals, Cowboys.
Bengals.
I will. Actually, I'm going to take the Cowboys.
No
All right, so
Dez.
Pat and Andy, Cincinnati.
I'll take Cowboys.
You got the Cowboys, me and Pat of Cincinnati. All right, Bills, Rams.
Rams.
I'm taking Buffalo.
Okay.
So Pat and Mike, L.A. Chargers, excuse me, Chargers, Raiders.
Raiders.
Yep. Oakland, all three. Giants, Packers.
Packers.
Green Bay, all three. And Buccaneers, Panthers.
Buccaneers.
Panthers.
Yep, so Mike and, or excuse me, Pat and Andy, Carolina. And now it is time for the EDP 445 picks of the week. And we're going right to EDP 445. Let's get him on the phone. He'll be joining me and Mclovin for the Giants-Eagles game, week 6 in East Rutherford.
I gotta put my PTO
I'll think about accepting it.
on. Note to file. Note to file. I'm gonna note to file for you.
What's up with a little bitch?
What's up, man? How's it going?
Shit, chilling, nigga, just watching TV, hanging out.
Yeah, so we're at the picks of the week. Let's hear your upset of the week. Which game do you think is going to be the upset of the century?
Upset of the week, I got Cleveland over New England.
No
my nigga.
shit.
Fucking around,
Wow.
man.
You heard it here.
He's fucking around. He's fucking around.
Well, he hates New England with a passion. You hate New England, right?
That would have
With
been a good
passion?
upset. That would have been really cool. I'm upset.
Nah,
for
man,
this.
my upset of the week is Atlanta over.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what me and McLovin have. Atlanta over Denver. All right, so let's go into the games that we didn't think we didn't agree on. All right, so we got Titans and Dolphins. Who do you have, EDP?
Titans and Dolphins, I got the Titans.
Okay, that's what Mike and Andy have. Then we got Washington
At Baltimore.
at Baltimore. Who do you have for that one?
Oh, I got fucking Baltimore, dude.
Okay, Baltimore for the EDP. Okay, then we got the Falcons. We already know you have Atlanta. Then we have Cincinnati against the Cowboys.
He's taking Cincinnati. He hates Dallas.
Yeah, I got Cincinnati on that shit.
All right, Cincinnati. Rams and Bills. Who do you got?
Buffalo.
Yep, that's what I took. I'm the only one that took Buffalo, by the way. McLovin and the Big Ticket both took the Rams.
Andy's the only one.
So I'm the only one that took Buffalo.
Say no.
So I'm with you there. I'm with you there. And then the last game we got I think it's a Sunday night game. Panthers and Buccaneers. Who do you got?
Oh man, I don't think Cam Newton is playing. Derek Anderson's going to be in. I feel like that's going to make all the difference in the world, man. I got Jameis Winston in Tampa Bay.
No
Tampa
shit.
Bay. All right.
That's right.
So, EDP, thanks a lot for joining the show as always. And we will be down with EDP 445 at the Giants-Eagles game week 6 in East Rutherford, New Jersey. It'll be a fun time. There'll be videos and stuff like that going down. EDP.
Week 6.
Yeah, it's week 6, right? It's November 6th.
Yeah, it's not week
No,
6.
week 9.
Oh, it's week 9?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm an idiot. It's week 9. Okay.
I was like, this is week 5.
6 and 9. Dyslexic as shit. All right. So there you go. EDP, thanks a lot for joining the show, and we will see you in New Jersey, week 9.
Hey, I appreciate you guys having me. I'll see you then.
All right,
Later,
man.
brother.
Take it.
All right.
Guys, it has been Fantasy Football with McLovin and the Big Ticket. Stay tuned tomorrow. Kenny will be back, he believes, for Scratch
boy.
Ticket
Nice,
Thursday.
nice.
We have a Scratch Ticket announcement happening as well.
Ooh.
Yeah. Ooh.
Scratch ticket.
Do I know
Scratch
about
ticket.
it?
Yeah, you do.
What's
But
that?
don't tell them now. We got to wait for tomorrow.
Oh.
All right,
yeah.
but anyway, thanks for watching, guys.
See ya.